Coming up on this week's episode of Flashtalk, Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff talks about the team's senior day win and what to expect in the MAC tournament. March is athletic training month. We got another edition of Dane Does. Deputy Woman Administrator and Associate Athletic Director Suzette McQueen talks about Women's History Month. And Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey joins the show to talk about what his team needs to do to win another MAC tournament title. All that and more coming up in a flash. Joined in our Flash Talk studios by Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach Sendy, it's MAC tournament week. We're finally here. I'll touch briefly on senior day. A great comeback victory against Eastern Michigan. What can you say about your team's resilience?
Happy for those guys to be able to win the game on senior night they'll remember forever. The way we won certainly I think helps us again in terms of preparation for this week. We had not won a game in that fashion all season long. So happy for our guys in terms of getting that win, ending the regular season 21 wins, 11 league wins. Won our last 5 conference games at home after a rough start at home in league play. So, proud of the effort across the board and happy with how we finished up the regular season, 8-2 in our last 10 games.
6 seed Western Michigan. You guys split the season series. You recently beat them last Tuesday by 1 point. What can you say about that matchup?
Yeah, they're really, really good and a tough matchup. They beat us handedly here at home early in conference play. We won by 1 point. Sion Medley made 2 free throws late to win the game there. It was a close game back and forth the entire night. Not much separation either way, and the game certainly could have gone either way. Last 4 minutes of the game, it was nip and tuck. They had the lead, and we made a couple plays, and then they took the lead back with under a minute to go. We did a great job on the glass in that game. We did turn the ball over a little bit too much in that game, and if we don't take care of the basketball, it's going to be a long night Thursday. We're going to have to take care of the ball. We're going to have to rebound well. We're going to have to keep them off the free throw line, and we're going to have to do a really good job in transition defense. Jalen has played very well against them in both games, and we're going to need other guys on top of him to play really well on Thursday night.
Rico Gillespie recently against Western Michigan had 18 points, 18 rebounds, including 14 offensive rebounds. How big is he in this MAC tournament run?
Everybody that steps on the court is going to be important in these games. Rico, over the last 10 games, has averaged double-figure rebounds. That game against Western was, one of those games that you don't see very often, 14 offensive rebounds like you mentioned. So he was awesome on the glass. Western Michigan, very much like us, prides themselves on rebounding. On the season, we've been the top offensive rebounding team in the league. They've been second. I know Coach Stevens well, and my guess is over the last few days, that has been a huge point of emphasis for their team. It's going to be that much harder for us Thursday night to do a good job on the glass. We're going to have to really, really go every single time and make sure we're going from multiple positions. Rico, in particular, using him as an example, is going to have to be even more dialed in, because I would guarantee that the top of the scouting report is making sure that they're physically trying to keep him off the glass.
Coach, your team has been to Saturday night, the MAC tournament final, 3 years running. You guys have the experience, obviously, to try and do it again, but what is it going to take to win 3 games in 3 days?
Belief in what we do. I think the guys in our locker room believe we're good enough. They believe in what we do. They believe in our style. They believe in our system. They believe in each other. And then you just got to go out there and perform and play freely, play for each other, not worry about, all the outside noise. And we certainly feel like we're capable enough, to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and to win Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And at the same time, I and our roster have a tremendous amount of respect for Western Michigan, and also know we could have gone into that game, could have gone into Thursday's game 0-2 against Western Michigan on the regular season. So, I'm sure Western feels very confident in the matchup that they have against us Thursday, and to think about Saturday today is really foolish. So we're going to be locked in on Thursday night.
Rob Senderoff ahead of the MAC tournament. Coach, good luck. We hope to see you make it around.
Dane, thanks, man.
When it comes to reaching your goals, having the right support can make all the difference. That's why we trust Green Lending, Kent State Athletics' exclusive mortgage partner, to help you achieve your home ownership dreams.
Just like on the court, everyone has a role to play. With the right teammates, any dream is possible. Green Lending is here to be that support to help you make those big moves in life.
Visit greenlending.com and let Green Lending help turn your dreams into reality.
Green Lending, helping Golden Flashes achieve their biggest dreams on and off the court.
All right, we're here with Senior Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine at Kent State, Trent Stratton, and Football Athletic Trainer Alan Wallace. They're going to show me what it's like to be a day in the life of a Division I athlete here in the athletic training office. And this is the anti-gravity treadmill.
You'll be walking on a treadmill just like you would this treadmill, but we can take up to 80% of your body weight off of you. So it's like walking on the moon.
So use this on our post-op patients, or somebody that's coming back from a long-term rehab, or somebody that also just wants a little bit different training stimulus. Definitely ankle surgeries, knee surgeries, hip surgeries. We'll get our athletes in here. So you're just gonna go 2 feet together there. So this allows you to get in here earlier, normally about the 3-month mark for post-op ACLs, 3-month, 4-month, depending on if your strength looks good, your swelling looks good. Nice piece about this is that we have cameras on the back side, we have it on the side of you, and in front of you is a camera that you can look and see what your gait looks like as you're running. So that helps us out too. Maybe we'll give you some adjustments as you're moving.
Is this a common used piece of equipment for athletes on everyday usage?
Not for everyday usage, but definitely in athletic training, you see it a lot more. Physical therapy clinics, depending on the size of it, the nature of the hospital center they work with, you'll normally see an Ultra G treadmill. So what this is doing is filling it up. It becomes a gigantic vacuum. That's why we put you in these fancy space pants that I like to call them. Talked about going on the moon before. Upward pressure that's happening inside of the bubble here that is going to pick him up, and it's going to feel like he's being lifted up off his toes.
I feel like a big balloon right now.
You are now 35% of what your usual weight is.
Okay.
So we'll have you start walking here a little bit. You'll feel the treadmill start going.
Whoa.
You want to try to jog?
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay,
Hopefully
so we're at 45% body weight here. We're going to get into a light jog at 5.5 speed. And now you don't need to hold on to the handles. If you want to, you can. I've never seen anybody trip and fall on this. It might be hilarious for TV, but let's not have today.
We're not going to try it. We think of ourselves as a washed-up high school athlete. Hopefully we're not that washed up.
Try to be as normal as possible. We won't get in here in soccer cleats or football cleats, but being in tennis shoes just like we're training on turf or training on flat ground running.
Is this something during the heart of football season that you'll see a lot of different guys use?
So not necessarily. If somebody's coming back from patellar tendonitis or Achilles tendonitis, we may put them in there, and they're probably off the field to begin with anyway. In my standpoint, if you can still practice, you can still play, you should still be able to do the conditioning that we had. Basketball might be a little different because how much running they do in season.
I feel like Neil Armstrong. Isn't that the guy that walked on the moon?
That is.
So with our cryo chamber, we use this primarily for recovery. When we got it 8 years ago, we only used it for recovery, and we only used it when a team wanted to use it. After we started using it, we realized that student athletes really felt better after doing it. So then it was, well, why do we want to do this after a competition? Why don't we do it leading into a competition?
It's going to be really cold in there, so this is why I have the little slippers down here. We got the gloves going, so approximately how cold does it actually get in there?
It is negative 250 degrees. You're only in there for 3 minutes. But if at any point you want to tap out, no judgment.
Now, you did say before I came in here, and this just being as honest as possible, to wipe off any possible sweat coming in here. So why is that?
Well, you don't want any moisture when you're going to be at negative 250 degrees. So anything on your body, any moisture on your body will freeze.
It's already cold outside. I think I'm going to make it worse, but let's open this thing and get in here. Oh my gosh.
One of the things we have you do when you're in there is either do like a quarter turn about every 20 seconds or so, or just shift your weight like you're doing. We don't want your legs to be totally locked.
We're going to try and make it the whole 3 minutes. We'll see if we can. Trent's smiling. I'm not sure if he thinks I can make it.
Most people make it the full 3 minutes.
Is there some athletes that you know that absolutely, the cryo chamber is my thing?
They had one at the Mavericks facility, and Dirk Nowitzki was still playing, and he used it twice a day.
Dirk Nowitzki, Hall of Famer, fan of the cryo chamber, remember that. Pretty warm about now, and we made it the full 3 minutes. Certainly an immersive experience, everyone.
So one of the things that we would have you do now is go down and get on the bike to just kind of get the blood, to help get the blood flowing, and then do some stretching or foam rolling to help in recovery.
All right, you see the sign right behind me, Cleveland Clinic Sports Medicine. Trent, I know that's a relatively new partnership. Tell us about that.
We just started the partnership in July, and we have 14 athletic trainers as part of this partnership. We have a whole army of physicians, and it's been great so far.
And you mentioned 14 full-time staff members that are now able to individualize a little bit more with their sports. How much does that help them build relationships with different athletes and continue to specialize in the sport that they're in?
Oh, it's huge. It's not only huge for that piece of it, but also for quality of life and having some kind of normalcy in their own personal life. It is huge, and we're certainly very fortunate to have it.
Well, I've certainly learned a lot today from yourself and the rest of the Kent State Athletic Training staff. Cleveland Clinic Sports Medicine, Kent State Athletic Training, a partnership for many years to come.
As you know, Kent State Athletics, our basketball team has historically been a huge part of our athletic department. We have a winning tradition. We always bring a great game. But in today's day and age, the basketball game itself isn't going to entice the average fan. We really need to come over the top. We need to do these exciting things like they do in professional sports. And without sponsors or partners like Ken Ganley, we wouldn't be able to afford to do like tonight, the esports night with the Ken Ganley game room. Also being able to do the $10,000 putt at halftime that they're supporting. So those types of things help us advertise and get out into the community and maybe reach people who are not just the average basketball fan. They also help us out off the court. So many of our faculty, our staff, and our coaching know that they can go to Ken Ganley Chevrolet, get themselves a vehicle in a short amount of time without having to shop everywhere. They're so important to us on so many levels that we're just so grateful that they're a part of our family, and I don't know how we would live without them.
Joined here on Flash Talk by Deputy Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator Suzette McQueen. Suzette, appreciate you joining me here on Flash Talk, and you oversee so much here at Kent State Athletics. So tell everyone what the Senior Women Administrator title is.
NCAA added it as a role to make sure that there's a woman in the executive room. So there's always a senior woman on staff, someone who can speak to other issues that may not be in the room. And this is at a time when you didn't have as many women who were athletic directors. So having a woman in the room was the purpose of it. So it's a designation. It's not your actual title. My actual title is Deputy AD, but my designation is the Senior Woman Administrator. So I'm in the room when those conversations are happening.
And I know you oversee 4 sports, soccer, lacrosse, and both men's and women's basketball. So tell me, what's your favorite part of interacting with athletes every day?
Yeah, I'm a former student athlete, and it definitely reminds me of those glory days. You know, I think my favorite time is obviously traveling with the athletes, getting to know them better. Keeps you young for sure. I don't know, the music that they listen to and some of the phrases and outfit, all that stuff helps keep you young. But really what I get out of it is seeing them grow as people. This is my 4th year here at Kent State, so I actually have some student athletes that I've been with for 4 years, and to see that the transition they've made from freshman year to seniors and about to leave, it's really rewarding.
And talk a little bit about your leadership, because it's not just interacting with athletes, it's leading departments like communications, marketing, NIL. So
I oversee all the external areas of athletics. And so that is communications, marketing, tickets. It is in revenue generation in terms of corporate sponsorships. Now NIL is a piece of that. So anything that's facing outward for the university, licensing, branding, our marks and logos, making sure that they're being, our little logo on our shirt, that we are a trademark, that they're being used appropriately. So all the areas that show that we can tell the story about Kent State.
March is Women's History Month. So, Suzette, what does that mean to you?
Just a time to stop and celebrate all the accomplishments that women have made. I mean, we're 50% of the population. So, there's been a time when women weren't seen as people who could even run a marathon. There was a time when they didn't think we could, even my grandmother, I think back to when she said when I was running as an athlete, as a hurdler, she thought it would hurt my ability to, to have children in the future, like things like that. Like people didn't think that women could handle it, but women are strong, and they have something to say, and they're a valuable part of society. And so Women's History Month allows us to take a moment and celebrate the women that have been trailblazers, to celebrate young women who are coming up in the industry. And I think everybody should work in college sports. I really do. I think everybody should work in athletics. I'd love to see women in media, telling a different story that maybe not being told. So I think Women's History Month is a time for us to just take a few moments to celebrate the women and trailblazers.
It's the 50th anniversary for so many sports here at KSU. So talk a little bit about what you've seen from those moments and how special that is.
The fact that we've had women's programs here for 50 years, varsity programs, and the support that Kent State offers our women, women's teams, it's really, really special. So we have track and field, softball, women's basketball, volleyball is the last one. The fact that we have 50 years of celebration for those teams is really quite remarkable, and hopefully another 50 years or more in those sports. But just taking a moment to stop and to see where we started, where there were no scholarships, where you were driving your own van, and where your uniforms might have been not, all matching. And now, we're sponsored by different things, and we have NIL opportunities for women, and we're on ESPN broadcasts. Now the NCAA is offering profit sharing for the women's championship now, the same as the men. So things are changing. There's still work to be done, but it's an exciting time for women in sports, and Kent State is certainly making sure that our women are taken care of as well.
What are some of your favorite memories?
Women's basketball, winning the MAC championship last year, and then the men winning the championship. I think it's back to the programs I work specifically with. I think, even the Title IX celebration year was my first year here at Kent. Getting the whole staff involved in that and really celebrating that as a full department was exciting. But like I said, it's just the day-to-day interactions can be fun. Just having a student come in my office and know that I help them with some task or challenge has just been rewarding enough. But those are like highlight moments.
Suzette, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up this week in Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSU Ticks. Men's basketball has a confirmed MAC quarterfinal matchup against Western Michigan in Cleveland at Rocket Arena. Tip-off will be around 6:30 p.m. On Friday, there could be potential matchups for Kent State men's and women's basketball in the MAC semifinals. Softball starts their first MAC series at home against Miami on Friday and Saturday. And Kent State baseball is at Schoonover Stadium for a 3-game set Friday through Sunday, taking on Hofstra, while men's track and field is in the NCAA Indoor Championships in Virginia Beach. Kent State lacrosse travels to Central Michigan for a MAC matchup for a 12 p.m. first draw. Men's golf plays Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at the General Hackler Invitational in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Gymnastics with a quad meet at Ohio State. They'll also take on West Virginia and Pittsburgh. As always, you can buy your tickets at ksutix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit kentstatesports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more right after this.
I think you can do so much from traveling the world. So many people just stay in the box that we live in.
The study abroad program at Kent State made it clear what path I should be taking.
Experiencing the different classes to experiencing the art and the buildings and the culture. I'm just hoping to take back everything I've learned and be able to apply it into whatever I do in the future.
Kent State has basically helped to set up the vision for the career that I want to be able to go through.
For every just one more mile to your next ace on the court, when you have a sports-related injury, Cleveland Clinic is here. For our Cavaliers, our Guardians, and athletes at all levels, our sports medicine team helps keep you in the game. With expert diagnosis, personalized sports therapies, and game-changing surgeries. For every injury, for every athlete, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Joined once again by Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, pleased to be joining you, and it's MAC tournament week. finally here. You guys are looking to win your second consecutive MAC tournament championship, but first we have to touch on that senior day victory, taking down Toledo.
It was a great day, right? And capped off with a win against Toledo, a team that's been obviously very good over the last 4 years, and our seniors hadn't had an opportunity to beat them until senior day. So it was great for everyone. What an incredible senior class that we have. All 6 of those seniors, 4 that have been here for 4 years. You don't see that a whole lot anymore in college sports, and what they've meant to this program has been, well, we don't have enough time to talk about it, to be honest with you, but Kaylee Perkins, Bianca Juzo, Elena Meyer, Lexi Linton, Jenna Batch, and Bridget Dunn. What a great class, and to beat Toledo in a hard-fought game was great for us.
And what did it take? You guys were shorthanded in that one.
It's gotten time for players that maybe wouldn't have gotten as much time. We got great contributions. Tatiana Thomas with a couple of really important baskets in that first half. We built enough of a cushion for us to be able to kind of withstand 2 major runs by them, and down the stretch we're really resilient. Went 6 for 6 from the free throw line when it mattered most, and we're able to come out with a 7-point win.
MAC tournament week, obviously, you guys match up against Miami. What are you expecting out of a tough defensive squad in the Redhawks?
Yeah, probably overall the best defensive team in the conference. They're a very physical team. They're very scout specific. They're going to prepare. They're holding teams under 60 points a game. So for us, it comes down to, and they're turning people over a lot. So we got to really take care of the basketball, really play a good ball control game, and be able to play through physical contact. I know they'll be prepared for us. We'll be prepared for them, and it should be a great first round 4-5 matchup.
What would you like to improve on most from that senior day victory until the MAC tournament on Wednesday?
I don't think it's just specifically that game. I think it now becomes your matchup. Mm-hmm. So more so, I think it just comes down to focusing on what Miami does well and trying to take them out of that. Focusing on what they do well against us defensively, and try to make sure we're attacking in the right spots. At the end of the day, when it comes to conference tournament time, you got to make shots. Yeah. You got to knock down shots, and then you got to be rigid on the defensive end and control the board. So it's not a magical formula. It's just you got to do, as we always say, you don't have to do extraordinary things. You just have to do ordinary things extraordinarily well, and that's what wins you championships.
Jenna Batch now has 3 consecutive games with 20 or more points. What is making things click for her at the right time?
I think she's just playing aggressive. She sees, this is her last go round, and she's just been playing through, she missing shots and then going right back at it again and not letting that get her down. I think she's been doing a great job. But her last 2 games, she's been 10 for 22 from the floor in both games, and scoring 25 and 27 in back-to-back games. So, that's kind of what we had from Katie last year. Shoemate in the tournament is a player that kind of offensively carries you a little bit. I'd love for us to have a really balanced approach, though. I'd love to get 4 or 5 in double figures, and that was a really good formula for us last year in the tournament as well.
How crucial is it that you have a ton of experience back from last year's championship squad?
Well, we'll see if it pays off, right? I think that if you can use experience to your advantage, then you should. And most of this team has played at Rocket Mortgage multiple games and knows what it's like to go through a tournament week. But you don't get to a tournament week unless you win your first game. And so all of our focus, laser-like focus on the first game and what we can do there, and not thinking ahead.
What have you liked most about the growth of this season's roster?
Man, I tell you what, this has just been a resilient bunch. We've hit on it multiple times. We didn't use injuries as an excuse all year, but it's something that factors in. And we've had so many different lineups. We've had people rotating in and out. We've had season-ending injuries, and this group to win 20 games and still finish in the top 4 of the league, I think just really speaks towards that. Like we said, their resiliency. We've had players that have stepped up. You look at Maya Babbitt and the year that she's had, she kind of mirrors what Jenna did last year, and really is one of the most, if not the most improved players in the league. And you just have to have those type of things happen for you when you have injuries. And so we always talk about next person up when injuries happen, and we've been able to do that.
Coach, best of luck in Cleveland. We'll hope to see you cut down the nets again.
Sounds good. Go Flashes.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Flash Talk. We hope to be talking to you about some postseason hoops for Kent State men's and women's basketball next week. For our entire entire GFTV studios, Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, I'm Dane Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.
Golden Flashes fans, this is men's basketball coach Rob Senderoff. At Kent State, we're building champions both on and off the court. In order to keep our winning tradition on the court, we need your support of the Blue and Gold Collective. Now more than ever, we need you to be our sixth man.
Flash family, make sure to play the Blue and Gold Collective 50-50 raffle. And when you play, the Golden Flashes win.
Support the Blue and Gold Collective and help our Flashes soar.